assigned?
I don't think so. I think it's just no player can play more than, or can win more than once, sorry, in the series. But it is going to be the Paladin, which will be an interesting one, because so far in this tournament, Paladin has actually looked surprisingly strong versus aggro, I will say. It's been its real saving grace, because it's been losing against the Shaman quite consistently, but against the aggro Druids and the Phase Hunters, even Shadow Priestess, actually looked kind of strong.
Yeah, because Alutemu played the Hunter in the last one. I'm pretty sure they're assigned decks.
I don't think they are, because like in EU, Gabby has played Quest Shaman, and so has Bunny. Like, different players have played different classes. It's just like, I mean, obviously he can play it again because they're saying Alutemu is the best Face Hunter player, but I'm pretty sure they're not assigned.
Okay. I mean, they may assign decks amongst themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
You practice this, you practice this, you practice this, and we're going to play that. Because Monsanto played Quest Shaman, and the last year he played all 3 games.
All right, but that's because he won. It's his last year of standing. So I think it's like once one of the players lose, rather than win, they can't play again.
I see. Cool. Biscuit it up. Probably Neophyte to deny a coin play though. With a turn 1
What are they
pass
coining out? Like Bannerman?
Bannerman.
That's okay.
Angling Rod.
That's okay. Interesting. I was gonna say, if you play the Doggy Biscuit and buff it up, then you don't really care if they coin the weapon or even the Bannerman. To be honest, it's not that bad. It could potentially wrangle them some extra tempo next turn, but I was honestly anticipating just the straight up Doggy Biscuit and start punching them with it.
Well, you can do that this turn and get more damage and hide the Doggy Biscuit behind a taunt.
True. No, that is true, but they now get to coin into the more impactful turns. Like, they can obviously go coin Truth Seeker, coin Barov City Tax, something like that. In 2 turns time, sorry, rather than on this turn.
Fine, Derek, fine.
I don't know. I'm just raising the possibility. I
mean, if you're going to be like that about it, sure. He should have Doggy Biscuited. I give up. It's always something with you.
We'll talk about it when we get home, TJ. Let's just not make a scene.
It's too late.
Better not leave me for Raven.
Well, I'm casting Mercenaries with him later, so don't wait up for me.
Alright, here we go. Now the plan's coming together. I will acquiesce on this point somewhat, as you and Alutemu clearly saw the lines with the 6/6 Doggy Biscuited up Neophyte.
God, it's so good.
It's so big.
And Cold Neophyte's not even a dog.
Yeah, it's just absolutely gaga for the biscuits. It will do anything for them. Or I guess, technically, because Adorable Infestation was cast, maybe it's like covered in Marsul cubs, and they're eating the Doggy Biscuits, and the Neophyte is just like throwing Marsuls at the Paladin. That are all hopped up on Doggy Biscuits.
Or the Cold Neophyte just loves dogs so much. Just gets the huge dopamine hit whenever he gives a dog a biscuit. Because they're happy and they're wagging their little Marsul tails.
And it therefore gets significantly more attack and health. You can start beating the crap out of anyone nearby.
I love dogs.
I just love dogs so much.
Whenever I give my dogs biscuits, I just can feel my attack and my health increase by a very specific amount, you know?
Who's a good boy and your fists clench and you just get a look in your eye. Well, that was a quick game of Hearthstone, wasn't it?
Yep. Is there anything here?
No.
No. Well, from Nayar's perspective, sure.
Maybe the Murloc? What Murlocs can you get? Oh, if you get Crab Rider, does that do anything? Crab Rider, Buffet? No.
The 3/1 rush with a Hand of a Doll.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That still wouldn't kill the Cold Neophyte. It'd have to be something extra.
Wow,
But it's
just
gonna
got
try
there.
and survive on board. Yeah,
Cold Neophyte.
that'll do it.
Frothing at the mouth, doggy biscuit crumbs everywhere. And Nayara, man, I mean, you've got to feel for her. Like, the last couple games she's played have just honestly been complete non-games. Like, there's just nothing she can do. Alitemu pulls into the lead here. And just getting the surprise factor. As I was saying, the Face Hunter just beating her up. Paladin with nothing to do as its hand was way too heavy.
And again, we're seeing sort of the weaknesses of the Paladin. You know, obviously, when you have this type of format where you have to go all the way down to decks that aren't really played that much and competitive play in the top ends of ladder, it can be hard to squeeze in those wins. You do see one-sided matchups quite often because a lot of times these decks that are down there have like these incredibly high highs but these incredibly low lows.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why they're not considered these top decks, is because they don't have the consistency to get those wins. Or on the flip side, they're just too darn consistent, but that comes with, you know, not having the raw power level.
Yeah.
To stand up. And I think like maybe Quest Shaman kind of falls into that boat where it is a pretty consistent deck, but it's consistently a little bit slower than the top tier decks. And that means that it gets muscled out unless you have a format like this where it's just the nuts. So APAC off to a nice quick little victory there. A W.
Yeah, it's a very nice win getting the W with the Hunter at the start. But I will say Americas have their pick of the litter in terms of how they want to counter this, because I would say Control Warrior, great counter. Quest Shaman, obviously also a pretty good counter, I will say, although slightly worse than the Warrior. Shadow Priest, I would say, is honestly a pretty good counter to Aggro Hunter. I just think it gets on board faster, is simply more efficient with the minions that it plays in the early game. And even Aggro Druid, I would say, is a reasonable counter to Hunter. Because again, same deal. It's just more efficient with its minions in the early game. So while it's a nice win there, it's just across the board good matchups now, in my opinion, for the Americas.
I would kind of lean towards the Aggro Druid just to look more towards what's next, right? You Aggro Druid, you get a win, Quest Shaman comes out, and then Aggro Druid probably ends up being your best deck against the Quest Druid that you have remaining. Like the best deck against Quest Shaman that also has that splash matchup that's good against Hunter.
Yeah.
And then if you can take a couple of those wins, then you could use your own Quest Shaman to get the last win in the series. If you get countered beyond that. So that's where I'm leaning towards, Derek. That's where my head's at. It's my 2 cents. That's my hat in the ring.
Yeah, that's reasonable, right? The thing is,
what
like,
other cliches can I throw up?
What? Your... No, yeah, hat in the ring. That's just the expression, isn't it? Your biscuit in the Neophyte.
That's my doggy biscuit. That's my biscuit in the dog's jaw. I believe that's what the kids are saying these days.
Oh, so that's what that means. I was very confused.
There it is.
Yeah.
Boom!
Bang on, TJ. That's the analyst TJ I know and love, not this newfangled host TJ.
Not this newfangled mercenaries TJ. This music is got me grooving a little bit. It'd be awkward if no one else in the stream can even hear it. It's just me.
I can hear it, TJ, and I'm bopping along too.
Okay. All right. Possessy's got his horn ready to go.
Every morning, Glory and Alutemu are like, "Hark, the horn of Possessy sounds. Verily, we must go."
Wait, I was promised a cool little futuristic eye patch.
Oh, what, in the picture you thought he would actually have the robo glasses?
Yeah. Wait, what'd you call it?
Robo glasses? I don't know, like futuristic.
Robo goggles?
Yeah. Something like that. They're all the rage in Argentina.
I don't. Those are not robo goggles. Robo goggles are something completely different. It's called an eye goggle.
An eye
That's not it
goggle?
either. No.
I'm pretty sure that's not what it is. I'm pretty sure that's just goggle.
Single eye glasses. Single eyeglass piece.
That's a monocle. That is, again, a separate thing that is unrelated.
And an electronic monocle. That's what it's called.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's much more descriptive than robo glasses, which in no way describes
that is, I googled every term that I said there, and electronic monocle was the only one that actually gave me results that look like that.
Electronic monocle.
Thus,
oh yeah,
my research concludes that that piece of eyewear is called an electronic monocle.
I'm glad we decided on that random asset that one of the Chinese artists came up with.
Yep. All right. Moving on forward, Alutemu on the play.
Oh yeah.
With a 1-drop and a doggy biscuit.
Oh yeah.
Nalgadon does have the pretty powerful start of his own with the Battle Guard plus an array of taunt minions.
He does. It's it's an interesting start actually here, isn't it? There's probably is just going to be for Nalgadon the coin Battle Guard plus either of his pawns. I guess the mule does make more sense because Divine Shield isn't achieving all too much here. But then Alutemu has a few ways that he can fight back against this, almost to the point where he can kill the Battle Guard on this turn. But very wisely, just going with taking out the taunt, buffing up his Volpinger, and surprisingly enough, actually keeping up in these early turns with the Druid, it looks like. But maybe not with that top deck. Nalgadon could cheat out so much mana.
That is good stuff. Good stuff. Go Annoyatron, Druid of the Reef, and Adorable Infestation on this turn. Is there ever a world where you hold the Annoy? Nah.
I don't think so. I'm just protecting my my Battle Guard for the moment. You want to go 3-1 rush? Okay. I was wondering if you go for Adorable Infestation on the Battle Guard instead, and then take a VT, and then you could just leave a 1-1 on the other side of the board. But a Divine Shield Preserve is quite powerful, actually.
Not as good in this situation, however.
How does this work? You can go for... If you go Weapon Hero Power on this turn, and then go Volpatinger, and then buff with the Doggy Biscuit next turn. You can't quite maneuver it to take out the battle guard, right? It just doesn't work. Whereas, but if you just go Volpatinger and buff on this turn, it's all a little awkward, a little annoying, letting your opponent dictate the trades.
Could hope for a better option for next turn with the True Crescent. But it does feel like you're just kind of passing your turn.
I just think it always ends up with Volpatinger and buff it. Like, it's not good, as I said. You'd much rather instantly take the trades with the weapon. But you're, like you said, you're just passing your turn otherwise. The mana is too tight at this point in the game.
Yeah. Okay. Naga picks up second Battle Guard, but not as big of a payoff as it could have been if another taunt minion was picked up in this position to be able to capitalize with Oracle of Loon. I still think Oracle of Loon is probably the play.
Agreed.
Only thing that would really answer at this point would be a piercing shot. But I think that if Nagadan can clean up what would just be a value trade over the 1/1 and push face.
Yeah.
I don't think a possibility of a piercing shot is enough to dissuade me from not getting this Oracle on the board.
I agree. If if he had Greybow with Aegis Pet in hand, we could talk, because then he could go for the powerhouse play on turn 6. But he doesn't, and so you're just playing a 3-mana 2/4 with a possible very big upside next turn, and just praying that it survives. I really like the 3/3 trading here, because it's dead to most effects anyway if they have burst. It's exactly the turn I wanted to see from Nelgi. Ooh. Okay, that's a pretty spicy top deck.
Yeah. Obviously, there's not a big top minion follow-up, or else Nagadan would have done it on this last turn. Maybe he's like sitting here thinking about it. So yeah, maybe it's worth piercing shotting the Battle Guard, but I think the Oracle of the Loon is just way more threatening at this point. He knows there's at least a Marshal Cub to be able to capitalize on it going to the next turn.
Ooh,
Dangerous
wow.
Pet.
Just play everything, right?
Yeah.
And if we want to recontextualize this matchup, if the best draw for Alutemu was spending his entire 4 mana to kill a 3-drop, it's going pretty well for Nagadan, even if that 3-drop dying is pretty sad for him. More disconnect issues for Nagadan is obviously going to be frustrating for him, Alutemu, and us alike. But it looks like we're back into the game, and Nagadan, at the very least, had a very simple turn here, not all too much to think about.
Yeah. There we go. Finally got all of his cards played. And yeah, I think you can sack this Battle Guard now.
Yeah, agreed completely. It's much more important to protect your taunts. You need to think about Rinlings as well, right? As the big punish. And if you don't trade, then it could be 3/3 into the Teacher's Pet, and then Rinlings to finish it off. And then if you get a small beast, that's most of your board actually gone then to Explosive Trap. So I think it's a responsible trade for Nagadan.
Yeah. And it is the most apt timing for that'll do, pig. That'll do.
Very true.
Because it's a quill boar.
It's a pig, yeah, I got it.
It's okay. Because quill boars are a lot like pigs.
And the pig had done a good job.
Yeah.
That's some pig. Oh! Oh! That'll get down.
Oh, jeez.
Muy
Oh,
picante.
jeez.
Oh! That'll do.
Well,
That'll do,
yeah.
Pig. Oh, now go down. Sorry. Good game.
This one is over. Wait, hold on. Let's count damage.
Ali Temu, you never count. He's not counting that one. Just throws it down.
Yeah, you never count. It was a whopping 7
Oh,
from hand. Unbelievable.
that's some of the way there.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that was about a quarter of Nagadon's life total, which is more than a fifth. So you take that all the way to the bank.
As they say, doing a quarter is half the battle.
Yep, been saying it for years.
Big counter there for Nalgadan, and obviously a huge outcome. You know, as I was saying, it was very likely that the Hunter gets countered. I think that APAC and Ali Temu specifically knew that Hunter was never getting the full sweep. It's just got so many bad matchups once all the top decks are taken out of the equation. And therefore, it means that it's on APAC to counter the aggro Druid, which again, they have plenty of very strong decks with which to do that. Obviously, Quest Shaman #1 is what I'm looking at for them. Get Possessi out and uncage the beast, allow him to do what he does best and just slaughter people with this Quest Shaman. But going with the Control Warrior as well, I think would also very much do the job. The problem is just the follow-up matchup where it can very easily get countered.
The cage beast. Just imagine, like, Possessi frothing in a cage. And Glory just timidly, like, walks up to it, opens it, and then jumps on top of the cage because he knows that Possessi can't look up.
He only has two-dimensional perception, but boy will he tear you to pieces.
Yeah. This could just be a Florida thing.
Oh, is that alligators?
The alligators, some of the alligators can't turn. So if you're running away from a gator, never run in a straight line.
Yeah, I heard you're supposed to zigzag.
Always
Same
zigzag.
with Possessi, actually. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Do not run in a straight line. He will not stop until he catches you. You have to zigzag.
Especially if you hear his hunting call. Burn!
Across all of Japan, it curdles the blood of the bravest of people.
You better get out of there quick, and you better not run in a straight line.
That's right, you hear the horn, and all of a sudden everyone's just sprinting randomly in zigzags.
Zigzagging.
On Possessi, you may see him as a blur in a perfectly straight line, frothing at the mouth.
Oh God, there he is!
Ah!
Quest Shaman. Which is actually not that straight of a line if you compare geometry to Hearthstone decks. Quest Shaman is one of the more zigzaggy of decks.
Ironically.
Yeah, disproving the theory that Possessi can in fact zig and zag whenever he so chooses.
You've ruined a player for me every time I see Possessi now.
Another one bites the dust.
One down, 15 GMs to go. Alright, another fantastic start for Nalgadan. Going with the slightly more old school list that he is, without the jerry-rig carpenters, means that he has room for the squirrels in the list, which, you know, is pretty good. I'm kind of close as to which one I prefer. I do side on the jerry-rig carpenter. I think that splitting sow the soil is incredibly powerful to capitalize on these wide boards. But then again, the problem is if you're losing squirrels, you're losing a lot of those wide boards anyway. And so Naga is just going for a slightly riskier strategy because you can just miss all the nuts. But if you get them, you're in very good stead.
Yeah, I've been sort of on the fence about the squirrel. Seems like the nuts always fall out of the tree, aka your deck, in the most inopportune times.
So true. Well said.
Well, if there's no perpetual flame, this opening is amazing.
It just wins the game if there's no perpetual flame. However, the cage is opened. He's breathing fire now. That doesn't make sense.
Well, at least Possessy doesn't really have that good of a turn next turn. Oh no!
Oh.
Oh no, look at it! It's bad!
That's a fat yikes.
I guess you just play one.
Yeah, I'm cycling that.
Yeah. 3-1 and composting.
You going 3-1? Okay, fair enough.
Shamans deal damage in 3s.
You're not wrong.
Pretty much anything that Shaman has that deals 1 damage also will deal at least 3 damage.
Yeah, no, you're right. Even like Wandmaker, it trades pretty much the same anyway. So yeah, sign me up. Attack mode.
Yeah! Naga knows what's up. He's been around the block a few times. Zigzagging the whole way.
That's one of Possessy's other weaknesses. He can't go round blocks. He's never been around them.
Can't turn left.
Alright, well that's 3 cards drawn, right? If you go for another composting here, which I do think you probably have to, your board's not going to get much bigger than this. And then if your next cards are Oracle, Battle Guard, and a 5-drop Taunt, then you're okay. If it's, I don't know, Arbor Up is the next card, maybe you're okay. But the missiles for Possessy puts an end to all of that. Now, Gadan, whenever you're ready, my good friend, this one's over.
Didn't zigzag quite hard enough. Without even like another composting in the deck, like what's even the out? It's like it would have to have been all of the squirrels right now.
True, yeah.
Nuts. And then the natural draw for the turn is Arbor Up.
Sure.
Oh wait, then Perpetual Flame would have gotten cast.
Well, from Nalganan's perspective, I think that's a gooder reason as any to stay in the game.
Yeah. Serpent Tribal just to grab control of the board. Could have gone like multicaster there to draw a couple spells, but I like just the yeah. Big fan of just the play some stuff.
Worked well for me for years. I mean, I guess it's technically one of the better draws.
Yeah, now next draw needs to be Battle Guard or Greybow, and then the next one needs to be whichever one of those two wasn't drawn. And then, yeah, Nagadot's back in this.
Oh, he's just already dead, though. Like, Possessy just kind of has quest completion in hand, it feels like.
Yeah.
I look at this.
Power on the board.
Gets the
2-turn lethal setup.
It's just getting there. Yeah, this one is Omega over. He's smiling. He enjoys this.
I mean, that was just an absolute beating. Had every possible answer. Like, the devolving missiles was just kind of the icing on the cake. And yeah, now APAC 2-1 lead in the series. We've seen some quick ones in this match in particular. The other matches, not only just earlier today, but that we've seen over the past couple days have been yeah, a little bit longer.
They have. Yeah, this one's going nice and quick. And TJ, if I had to guess what's going to come next, now the beast is loose. The only way to take it down is for a behatted beast on the other side to try and do the impossible and take down Possessi. It's time for the Shaman mirror.
I would imagine so. And now we have to fabricate Monsanto's predatorial weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if he couldn't look up before based on the alligator part with a hat on, he definitely can't look up. So if you can elevate yourself more than like 7 centimeters, you're probably safe against Monsanto.
Yep. But he's protected from the sun.
So if you were thinking of using that, nice try, buddy. Not today.
Yeah. If you were thinking of trying to exhaust him in the desert, won't work.
He's got a
You're going to get dehydrated much faster than he is. Because the hat also has the benefit of holding in the moisture.
And believe me, he's moist.
Yeah. Though he does have, he's got the ponytail going on, so does have a little bit more fur than some of the other grandmasters predators out there. So
true.
That could work against him. It's also kind of like the, never wear a cape dynamic with superheroes.
Good point.
Because the ponytail could get caught in a piece of machinery. Right as if he's the villain in the story, right as the superhero is saying his last words, because the villain also goes, "Any last words?" And then, random machine pops out, turns on, ponytail gets caught.
So, the weaknesses you've got: stand on a chair or carry a desk fan. Otherwise, you will die.
I mean, we don't have to limit it to just a desk fan, right?
Okay.
Could be a meat grinder.
Pasta maker machine.
Yeah, one of those spaghetti rollers.
Yep.
A mixer, right? What do they call those?
Oh yeah, food processor.
No, not a food processor, because I think a lot of times the blades are really small. I'm talking about one of those slam some pizza dough in there, flour, whatever, and then
yeah, I mean, isn't that a food processor? Kind of like that.
No, a food processor chops things up real small.
Oh, just a mixer. Or like a KitchenAid, like one of those things, but a non-branded.
Yeah. I thought it had a more specific name than mixer, but alas, here we are. Egg on my face.
Probably because you put it in a food processor instead of a mixer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, because that's how you make an aioli.
That's true. Put it on a low setting, no egg on your face.
Yeah. There's the protective guard on the top of the food processor. That's what it's for. It's to prevent the food from getting in your face. Oh, I could go for a good aioli right now.
Well, Possessi could go for a good AoE right now, as this Perpetual Flame is looking reasonable, just to let it rip and start getting your first quest proc done. Come on, that was a segue and a half.
No, I have a really big confession to make, Derek. I have no idea what aioli is.
Didn't you say you've made it?
I know it's made with eggs.
Like a mayonnaise-based sauce, isn't it? Like,
is it even made with eggs? It's just made with oil.
and often egg. There you go. You're often correct, TJ.
Oh, the word aioli is pretty much synonymous with mayo, and is often just a simple mayonnaise that is flavored generously with garlic. Interesting.
It's good stuff.
Cool. Okay. Now we can move on to the game. This is a Monsanto hand if I've ever seen one.
That is a Monsanto hand, yeah.
Just a whole lot of nothing, and then randomly, boom! You're dead.
So, how are you metering this out? What are we using with the Diligent Note Taker with this hand? Like, I want to say Lightning Bloom is too low value. You want to generate something a little bit more impressive. So it could theoretically on this turn be Bloom Note Taker plus Feral Spirits. But then, of course, the problem is that you are leaving the 6/2 on the board, so maybe it's just Bolt on this turn, Bolt Hero Power. Again, Monsanto taking it very slow. He's incredibly patient in this matchup, which is a pretty far cry from Possessi, who generally, at least in the mid-game, plays very, very tempo-heavy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the correct way to play the matchup. Obviously, that changes, right? It changes on how your opponent's playing.
Yeah.
But is to take it slow, look for like that kind of ideal first quest completion, and then ramp up the speed from there, right? And I say that seems like the correct way to play it because that's how Possessi plays it, and he's really good.
He is good.
And Monsanto seems to be patient most of the way through and goes for kind of that big burst, but maybe a little bit later. Much more reluctant to use those charge calls for tempo. But as I say that, he did have that moment in the previous series where he went for the charge call, got the Stormwind champion, and that gave him kind of that extra damage and health boost that he needed to survive, right? If he hadn't got that, the Trampling Rhino would have been able to deal more damage and then wouldn't have even been able to save himself with the double title surge. So I think, you know, in conclusion, right, as a summary, both players are just really good at Quest Shaman.
Pretty interesting to see this Revolve coming down after the 2/2s, because, after the Feral Spirits, because Feral Spirits are 2-drops, right? So you're saying you'd rather have a random 2-drop here than a 2/3 taunt. It's arguable as to whether or not that's better, because, like, you know, obviously average is less than 3 health on the 2-drop, but as we've said multiple times, 2 and 3 health are basically the same thing in the Shaman variant. Perpetual Flame, Lightning Bolt, Serpentine Portal, all of these things clear them all anyway. So maybe going for it just to hope for randomly higher attack or spike of 4 health 2-drop was reasonable enough for Monsanto. It obviously doesn't work out because the Perpetual Flame comes down and now he's quite far behind on board.
Yeah, forget the 2-drops though. Spiked 2 4 health 1-drops. But still, spell damage will take it off. Oh wow. Okay. Super aggressive with the charge call here. I imagine this is going to be a Cairn.
Agreed. Yeah. Oh, nice 3/3 as well. The quest completion on this turn was bananas.
Yeah. And an overdraft next turn as well to be able to reset these mana crystals.
Oh yeah.
Quite good. Quite good. Possessi smells blood.
He's frothing.
He's frothing. Monsanto, however, does not smell blood. Because he can. He actually doesn't have a sense of smell. That's his third weakness.
That's why he has the hat. It acts as a kind of radar for his ears to boost his hearing, like a dish.
Yeah, it allows him to not only hear the sounds better, but also feel the breeze of humans trying to zigzag by him.
He's a natural underfeeder, preying upon Possessi's victims. He can sense their zagging, but not their zigging. That's his other weakness.
Just no value in the hand whatsoever for Monsanto. Diligent Note Taker is going to have to be used on the first fruits anyway, and it's just going to get it all out there.
Yeah, he is going very, very much all in here, right? He is dumping everything on the board, praying that this is enough to keep him in the game, and saying, please, please, Possessi, no second perpetual flame. But just look at this for Possessi.
I got super excited because I thought that Possessi could go Diligent Note Taker Overdraft, Perpetual Flame Overdraft, but
he's just choosing to skip a turn next turn. And I think, honestly, fine. He's winning this game anyway.
Yeah.
It's just the nuts. All he needed was the flame, and the game just kind of ends.
Yep.
It needs to be guidance into another 1-mana or very cheap overload spell to be able to play Brucan next turn, right? Like,
well, there wouldn't be a next turn if it was guidance, right? Because
he's just dead.
Presented on board. Yeah, he's at 11 health, 11 attack on board. He would have needed guidance with one of the spells being Lightning Bolt just to stay alive, and the next one being like Tidal Storm. I don't even know. It was he was not winning from that position, and APAC takes the series 3-1. And thus splitting. America's splitting once again. And while that's better than just losing, they aren't in a position where they can afford to just kind of keep splitting with teams that are above them in the standings, because they're earning the exact same amount of points as them, which means you're still a point behind in the overall standings race. And once again, the Battlegrounds team for America is going to need a big performance going into that portion of the day. Just for Americas to stand a chance.
And to be fair, the America's Battlegrounds team has been looking to be the best, both in terms of points and, from what I can gather with my limited Battlegrounds knowledge, in terms of performance as well. I think they've just been playing at an incredibly high standard, with Salissa consistently topping those leaderboards. And so if they are able to win that and get an additional 2 points, 4 points at the end of the day for Americas versus only 2 for Asia Pacific, would start to catapult them a little bit higher and just claw their way out of 4th place. Because at the end of the day, it will be the end of the round robin. All of the 3 regions will have played, all of the 4 regions will have played all 3 other regions in all of the game modes, in Mercenaries, Battlegrounds, and Constructed. And the last place at the end of the day will be eliminated from the tournament before we head to the playoffs, the finals tomorrow, with 2nd and 3rd playing against each other for the right to play 1st place in terms of points in the finals. It's very exciting stuff, and it's very much coming down to the wire now, with every single point that you can scrape together being of the utmost importance.
Still a lot of Hearthstone left to be played, though. We have 2 Battlegrounds, so we're going to get to see every region battled off in Battlegrounds. And then we have one more round of Constructed, as well as the Mercenaries to end off the day with China versus Europe in both of those. So a lot of points to be had, and it's going to be close if we go with kind of the expected outcomes of each of these given their previous performances early on in the round robin. I mean, it's going to be very even. It's going to be very close with those points totals at the end of the day. So I am certainly looking forward to it. Time for a recap. Shaman once again just being a good deck. Shaman had 5 out of the 6 wins in this series. Over the course of the 2 series that we played,
Right,
the series of series.
3-0 stomp for Monsanto, and then Possessi getting the other 2. So, I mean, again, as I was saying yesterday, it just becomes very apparent once you see the metagame develop that Shaman is just the top dog right now. With no combo decks in the metagame, it simply does not have any real counters. and I don't expect that to stop anytime soon, with Constructed still to come yet today between EU and China, and then of course tomorrow in the grand finals when we play out all of that. But as you were saying, very even so far between Americas and APAC, 1 point apiece in both Mercenaries and Constructed, with Battlegrounds unlikely to come down to a tie again. It should be the difference maker that puts one of these teams in the lead.
Yeah, of course this would be the day, though, that America's just doesn't show up in Battlegrounds and phones it in and says, yeah, all right, whatever, you know. We didn't want points anyway. We just wanted to be third, fourth. But we shall see, because we are done with Constructed. That's 1 Mercenaries, 1 Constructed portion of the day in the books. We have 2 portions of Battlegrounds coming up, and then again followed by Constructed Mercenaries to close out the day. So we're gonna have to go to a quick break, but when we come back, some Battlegrounds here at the Hearthstone Global Invitational. Don't go anywhere.